What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Zamboni. This shit don't even work with these gloves on. I know it's cold out here. I appreciate you though. Thank you so much for being here. I'm a musician in astrology. It is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. It is loud and emotional out here, isn't it? This is a pretty wild time. So, one of the things that we got going on this week in a big way is we got Mars retrograde as hell. This Mars retrograde in Cancer is big emotions all up in the piece. Shout out to Yael, who correctly predicted in the comment section of one of my dailies that the Sun opposite Mars situation was going to be loud, even though the moon wasn't directly there making a hard aspect to that. She was right, and I should have talked more about that. It was. And so we got to talk about it this week because Mercury is going to come in and make that same opposition. So we got Mercury in Capricorn opposite to Mars in Cancer. So, like where Sun opposite Mars this past week has been kind of like a power struggle of some sort, a lot of ego in the way, a lot of like, like I want to be the big one, or like versus you being the big one, and like pushing back and forth and this kind of thing. Mercury is the communicator. Mercury is the one who wants to, and like Mercury in Capricorn very much wants something practical and effective to take place, right? Mercury wants to take information and make it intelligible such that it can be useful in Capricorn, right? And so then that is opposite. There's a tension, there's a conflict, there's a strong, like they see they can see each other, but like they kind of hate each other, right? So like Mars in Cancer is all like big emotions, feeling all the feelings, feeling sensitive and threatened, all that sort of stuff, and like being really ready to sort of like just destroy everything as a result of feeling that threatened in the sensitive place. And then Mercury is like trying to make something practically useful and maybe might scoff at that Mercury or at that Mars in Cancer. And so that scoffing is likely to turn into more conflagration. It's likely to turn into more of a situation where Mars feels deeply threatened and ready to destroy everything about it. Now, one thing that we can see this week that I think is potentially useful here is that we have Venus in Pisces making a trine to Mars in Cancer. Now that is cute and useful here because this Venus in Pisces is, so Venus, this past week we have Venus in Pisces conjunct Saturn, right? Venus moved in and conjoined that Saturn, and this week Venus is past that Saturn. Last week, that's like too much fun. Like Venus is exalted in Pisces. Venus is very good at doing the Venus things: pleasure, fun, harmony, cooperation, music, arts, these kinds of things. Venus is very good at doing those things in Pisces. And so the pleasurable, delightful things that we typically can expect from Venus in Pisces ran into Saturn. And so there was this limitation or boundary. Like it was too much fun, stop having so much fun because it's a problem, right? So, leave me a comment if this happened to you. This did happen in my life, and it's like kind of hilarious. I don't want to blow anybody's spot up, so I'm not gonna tell that story, but it's kind of funny the way that it's like, this is too much fun, so now you have to stop, like shows up. Leave me a comment and let me know what happened for you this past week. But this week we've got Venus moving past that, so Venus is now separating from Saturn, so it's not going to be all the Saturn things, but instead Venus is going to make a trine, which is a supportive, helpful, beneficial kind of aspect to Mars in Cancer. So while Mars is feeling, poked, prodded, attacked perhaps by Mercury in Capricorn, Mercury is like trying to like be maybe a little chilly, a little cold and brittle with the information. Like I don't care how you feel about this information. This is just information. And Mars is like, I feel all the ways, and like all that, right? And so Venus in Pisces is making this trine to Mars, and so like approaching that sense of like feeling threatened, and what am I going to do about it, right? Mars is the action planet, so what am I going to do about these sensitive feelings that I'm having here? coming directly at it looks like a way to create problems, create distrust, to create difficulty. But there's an angle here from Pisces. You know, Pisces is famously, like, if you spend time like looking through your little astrology memes or whatever, then Cancer and Pisces are the ones that are most likely to be crying in those memes, right? So Pisces and Cancer can understand each other. There's a certain situation where they can see where the other is coming from, and they can sort of relate to one another. Also, Mars doesn't have a lot of friends, right? Mars is kind of like aggressive and angry, and everybody's like, this guy, oh God, I can't get, like, so will somebody do something with him? And the only person, or the only one who Mars gets along with, is Venus. And so for Venus in Pisces to make a beneficial, supportive, friendly kind of aspect to Mars in Cancer does look like the kind of situation where there is an ability here to, I don't know, like maybe take some of this difficult Mars stuff and turn it into something artful, turn it into something cooperative, turn it into something that is, you know, that makes the world a more beautiful kind of place. And indeed, there is much beauty in tragedy. So like, if there are feelings where things are like getting out of hand, you're feeling sensitive, you're feeling like all this kind of stuff, that can turn into some good art. Also, not for nothing, that, you know, like, this is Brene Brown style, like shame and vulnerability turning into kind of a place for connection, a place for others to understand where you are and be there with you in that space. So, you know, there might be something here. So if we're thinking about this Mercury, right, this opposition to Mercury, it's difficult for Mars and Mercury to work together on this one. So I wonder if there might be something here about sort of like saying the difficult thing that you don't feel like saying, that like is it just like hurts to say it. It hurts to even feel the feeling that you are feeling, right? And then, but then you like say that thing, and then it gives others the opportunity to be like, word, I understand, I too have felt or do feel that thing, and we can relate to each other and cooperate because we can see each other in this place, you know. The good thing about Venus here being in Pisces along with Saturn is, and I think I talked about this last week also, but it's worth revisiting, is the idea of tunnels, right? So the idea, and shout out to Cameron Allen for giving me this image like 2-3 years ago on the quarterly forecast we were doing. The idea here is borders and boundaries are necessary when you're creating tunnels. Tunnels are made of walls, and in order for you to create the space for connection, which is what a tunnel or a channel is, then what you have to do is you have to get rid of all the other stuff, right? So it's that Saturn saying no to stuff in order to create connection. And so Venus and Saturn together in the same spot is walls in order to create connection. And so Venus in Pisces, you know, has a pretty good look at this Mars situation, and Mars is like doing the most. Mars is doing the absolute most out here. And so I wonder if there's a way to bring in some kind of connection that makes the world a more beautiful place, that brings about the more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible, all that kind of stuff, right? Like, you know, that is artful in some kind of way. Poetry, song, metaphor is a really good look here. You know, like, if you're out here feeling all the feelings, then like singing a song about it, even if it's not like an outward performance, you're not out in the world like doing all the stuff, you know, because like, I don't know, the sun is in Aquarius. The sun is moving into Aquarius this week. And so the sun is not super, you know, when we're thinking about sun being like the performer, the one who wants to get up on the stage and be in front of all the people and all this sort of stuff. Sun is moving into Aquarius, and not only moving into Aquarius, but also conjoining Pluto there right at the very beginning of Aquarius. And so that looks like a lot of fear of doing the sun things. The sun in Aquarius is, as far away from Leo, the sun's domicile, as possible. And so there is big fear of you know, it looks like stage fright is what that kind of thing looks like, you know. And so you don't necessarily have to be out in front of everyone doing this thing, like showing your face and all of that, but like maybe singing in the car, or singing, you know, or like writing some poetry that is not for anyone else's consumption could be a good way to deal with some of this sensitivity. I keep forgetting to do these ad reads. Somebody go to SuzanneBoneyFunk.com and get that 10-minute reading, please. I appreciate all y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. Thank you for sending it to a friend. I appreciate you. See you next time.